Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right on your healing journey and your body still isn't responding? You've changed the food, you've taken the supplements, you've run the labs, you followed the plan, and still something inside of you is feeling stuck. If that frustration has been quietly building in you, this conversation is for you. Because what makes this so disorienting is not that you're not trying, it's that you are. I'm Michelle, and this is where we explore the intelligence beneath your symptoms, from subconscious imprints to emotional memory, so you can stop fighting your body, start understanding it, and allow healing to unfold. What makes this so exhausting isn't just the symptom, it's the effort. You're trying, you're researching, you're adjusting, you're hopeful, and then nothing shifts. And when nothing shifts, something subtle begins to happen where you start questioning yourself. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm not disciplined enough. Maybe my body just doesn't work the way other people's does. And that internal spiral can start to feel heavier than the actual symptom itself. I know from experience. And most women I speak to aren't lacking discipline. They're just exhausted by doing everything right and still feeling confused and stuck. There was a season in my own life where I remember thinking, I'm doing everything I know how to do. I was adjusting my food, supporting my body, researching, trying to be proactive, and yet something was still feeling off. What made it harder wasn't the symptoms, it was the confusion, because the confusion starts to erode trust from your body, right? And when you lose that trust in your body, you start to turn against it inside your brain. And then that's the moment that healing starts to slow even more. So here's what no one really explains clearly, right? Most healing advice focuses on the surface layer, the supplements, the hormone levels, the elimination diets, the tracking cycles, right? The problem with this is it's like painting over mold because it might look better for a little while, but if the moisture inside the wall hasn't been addressed, then the mold is going to continue to return. And that doesn't mean that the paint failed, it means that the root wasn't resolved. Your body works the same exact way. If something subconscious hasn't been processed, it's going to repeat. Despite all your outward efforts, despite all the work that you're putting in. And it's not to say that those things aren't necessary or good. Many of them are, but they can't override a pattern that your nervous system still believes is necessary. Right? So let me give you another image. Right? It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. Right? Have you ever done this, when you're a kid, hanging out in the pool, right? You're trying to force it down and you can hold it there, but the second you lose your grip, it shoots back up, right? This is what happens when we suppress without resolving. So I worked with a woman who had improved her cycle 3 separate times. She used surface level interventions, supplements, routines. And each time her cycle would regulate briefly, but then it would destabilize again. So she started to think that she was failing and like she was never going to, resolve this recurring issue. But really, she wasn't failing. Her nervous system was still bracing around a past season of loss and instability. And so that bracing was expressing itself through her reproductive system. Her ovaries and her uterus were responding to an imprint of loss, a significant loss that she experienced in her life. And until we addressed that imprint beneath it, her body kept returning to protection mode, despite all of the things she was doing, but not because her protocols were wrong, because her system still believed that the protection was necessary. So I want to share with you the scientific layer. There is an entire field called psychoneuroimmunology, and it studies how the emotional stress influences our immune function, our hormone signaling, and even inflammation in our body. And research has started to show that chronic perceived stress alters our cortisol rhythms, thyroid conversion, gut permeability, and even inflammatory cytokines. So, what does that mean, right? In simple language, your emotional state and life experiences, past traumas, can change your physiology. So, if a stress pattern hasn't been integrated, hasn't been released, the body continues to respond. And that's not a mystical thing, it's truly documented in how our body is designed to work, even at a biological level. Your body is not designed for performance. Your body is designed for biological survival. So if your nervous system perceives something is unresolved or unsafe, then healing is going to slow and the symptoms are going to start to surface. And these symptoms are not here to punish you. They're actually here to protect you. They're here to send you a wake-up call, to help you protect your body from what your subconscious believes as a threat. And then this is where that ancient wisdom really aligns with biology. Proverbs 17:22 says, "A crushed spirit dries up the bones." So ancient cultures really understood something modern science is now starting to map, and that is unresolved emotional weight affects physical symptoms and systems in your body. Your autonomic nervous system has two main modes: safety and repair, or alert and protect. And if the system senses a threat, it's going to divert resources toward vigilance. And that repair and healing becomes secondary. You can follow the perfect protocol, but if your subconscious layer still feels threatened, the body is going to prioritize protection over repair. And that's when symptoms loop back. That's when things keep coming back. Not because you've failed, but because your system is choosing safety first. Your body doesn't release what your subconscious believes is still protecting you. Think about that for a minute. Your body doesn't release what your subconscious believes is still protecting you. And what isn't processed will persist, despite all your outward efforts. So let's integrate this, right? So what would change if you stopped asking, why isn't this working? And instead started asking, what is my body protecting? What is this symptom telling me? What am I not hearing? What am I not listening to? Because that stuckness doesn't mean that you're broken. It doesn't mean you're not going to heal. It usually means there is a protection in place. And that protection isn't your enemy. It's intelligence. Protection is intelligence. Protection is divine design. And when you understand what the protection is for, the body no longer needs to hold it. The subconscious can release it, and healing can begin to unfold, right? The reason I know this is because this is the work I do. We don't force the body. We decode the pattern. We look at the survival imprint. We increase safety at the subconscious level through nervous system regulation, frequency work, flower essences, and integrative support. And then when that safety increases, regulation and healing begin to flow in. Not instantly, not often dramatically, but steadily and often subtly, and sometimes surprisingly, because the system is no longer bracing. The subconscious is no longer holding on to what it feels is needed for protection. So, if healing has felt stuck for you, I want you to consider something. Maybe you're not behind. Maybe you've just been working at the wrong layer. And that's not your fault. No one really teaches this. We're taught strategy before subconscious safety. And that's force, right? Force before understanding. But your body isn't resisting you. It's actually waiting for you to understand what it's been protecting. That's why it's sending you these symptoms. And if this conversation resonated, I'd really love for you to subscribe, right? Here we're building an understanding, not just of symptoms, but of the intelligence underneath of them. Because when more women understand how their nervous systems actually work and how that applies to healing, there's less fear, there's less self-blame, there's more partnership with the body, and overall there's more collective healing. Just let this settle. Stuck doesn't mean broken. It means something hasn't felt safe enough to release yet, to heal yet.